of her record as a prosecutor and that she'll be a prosecutor president, but I'm deeply concerned about this record. There are too many examples to cite, but she put over 1,500 people in jail for marijuana violations and then laughed about it when she was asked if she ever smoked marijuana.
A former congresswoman, a presidential candidate, a voice for the political outsider, Tulsi Gabbard's rise has been anything but conventional. But who is she really, and why does she matter today? Or something more provocative, is Tulsi Gabbard America's next political revolution? Let's dive into the story of the woman who broke free from her party and how she's reshaping politics today.
Democratic Party. That our Democratic Party, unfortunately, is not the party that is of, by, and for the people. It is a party that has been and continues to be influenced by the foreign policy establishment in Washington, represented by Hillary Clinton and others' foreign policy, by the military-industrial complex and other greedy corporate interests. I'm running for president to be the Democratic nominee that rebuilds our Democratic Party, takes it out of their hands, and truly puts it in the hands of the people of this country, a party that actually hears the voices of Americans who are struggling all across this country, and puts it in the hands of veterans and fellow Americans who are calling for an end to this ongoing Bush, Clinton, Trump foreign policy doctrine of regime change wars, overthrowing dictators in other countries, needlessly sending my brothers and sisters in uniform into harm's way to fight in wars that actually undermine our national security and have cost us thousands of American lives. These are wars that have cost us as American taxpayers trillions of dollars since 9/11 alone, dollars that have come out of our pockets, out of our hospitals, out of our schools, out of our infrastructure needs. As president, I will end this foreign policy, end these regime change wars, work to end this new Cold War and arms race, and instead invest our hard-earned taxpayer dollars actually into serving the needs of the American people right here.
I left the Democratic Party because it is led by an elitist cabal of woke warmongers. They are driven by an insatiable greed for power, and they are willing to do whatever they deem is necessary, even the destruction of our freedom, to get what they want and to stay in power. This is the challenge and the threat behind those who are abusing their power in more brazen ways than I ever would have imagined today. I left the Democratic Party because it's led by fanatical ideologues who don't believe in freedom. They don't believe in freedom of speech, freedom of thought, freedom of expression, freedom of religion, and the right of every one of us to express ourselves without fear of retribution or retaliation from those in power. Thank you very much. Aloha. You know, I was a Democrat for over 20 years. Today's Democrat, thank you. Today's Democrat Party is completely unrecognizable, which points to the clear choice that we have in this election today. When you look at the party of Kamala Harris, for example, she is anti-freedom, she is pro-censorship, she is pro-open borders, and she is pro-war. Without even pretending to care about peace, as President Trump talked about, she has shamelessly embraced the endorsement and support of warmongers like Dick Cheney and Liz Cheney and others who care more about power and feeding the military-industrial complex than they care about you, the American people, and peace. President Trump has pledged to end wars, not start them. And this is why, in the eyes of the Kamala Harris, Dick Cheney Democrat Party, they will do everything possible to try to destroy him. you'll see how they have weaponized the federal government. They have weaponized law enforcement, the Department of Justice. They have done everything possible to try to silence him, to try to remove him from the ballot, so we the people don't even have the choice to who we want to vote for. Why have they done this? Because this man has the courage to take them on and root out the deep rot of corruption in the swamp in Washington. Now, voters have made their voices heard loud and clear, not once, not twice, but 3 times in the last 3 presidential elections, nominating this man to be the Republican nominee for president because of his commitment to these fundamental American principles of freedom and peace and prosperity. USA. Now, to those of you here or those watching at home who are independent-minded people like myself, who love our country and are committed to the Constitution and to freedom, the Democrat Party has no home for people like us. But we do have a home in the Republican Party where we are welcomed with open arms by President Trump and so many of you who love our country. And it is because of my love for our country, and specifically because of the leadership that President Trump has brought to transform the Republican Party and bring it back to the party of the people and the party of peace, that I'm proud to stand here with you today, President Trump, and announce that I'm joining the Republican Party. I'm joining the party of the people, the party of equality, the party that was founded to fight against and end slavery in this country. It is the party of common sense, and the party that is led by a president who has the courage and strength to fight for peace. So, as we stand here today, we have 14 days until the most historic election of our lives. And my message to my fellow Americans, regardless of your political affiliation, now is the time for us to stand together to save our country. There is nothing less than that that's on the line. A vote for President Trump is a vote for a big open tent party that welcomes people from all backgrounds and all walks of life. A vote for President Trump is a vote to express our deep love for our country and our appreciation for our God-given rights and freedoms enshrined in the Constitution. A vote for President Trump is a vote for secure borders and safe communities, and a vote for President Trump is a vote for peace here in America and around the world. I'm looking forward to casting my vote for President Trump because you are our best and only hope in this election to lead our country toward a future where every one of us can live in a truly free, peaceful, and prosperous nation. Every single vote will count. This is our opportunity to vote for freedom, to vote for peace, to vote for America, and vote for President Trump to go back to the White House and make America great again. Thank you so much.
Who is Tulsi Gabbard? Tulsi Gabbard is an American politician, military veteran, and former member of the U.S. House of Representatives. Born in 1981 in Leloaloa, American Samoa, she was elected to Congress in 2012, where she served as a Democrat until she made headlines with her public departure from the party in 2022. Known for her stances on anti-interventionist foreign policy, Gabbard was the first Hindu member of Congress and the first Samoan American member of Congress. She's also a combat veteran, serving in the Hawaii Army National Guard.
Thank you.
My sister.
Run down.
Very well done.
The fact that we have all these troops in the region, this is an issue of sensitivity for you about where America is and why. Do you believe that this is something that will be rethought by the Trump administration?
Well, thank you, Chris. It's good to be with you on your show, and I appreciate you recognizing our veterans, my brothers and sisters in uniform, and the many challenges that our veterans in this country still face alongside their families. And to me, the most important commitment that veterans and servicemen and women should have from our leaders in this country, the best way to recognize that service and sacrifice and to say thank you is to make sure that our men and women in uniform are only sent into harm's way or only sent to war as a last resort, after all measures of diplomacy have been exhausted. Now, this is one of the many reasons why I think so many Americans turned out to vote for President Trump, is because he understands this. And we've seen how through his last administration, he didn't just talk about ending wars. He actually went out and did that work of direct diplomacy. He went out and met with dictators and adversaries in that pursuit of peace for the American people. So in his next administration, and he was very vocal about this throughout this presidential campaign, that his goal is to end wars, not start them. His goal is to prevent World War III and nuclear war, and spoke many times about things that Kamala Harris never brought up during her campaign, about how he understands the seriousness of the stakes and the threats that we face as the American people, specifically because of the foreign policy decisions made under the current administration. And so I can tell you,
Right.
as someone who still wears the uniform, I'm a lieutenant colonel in the Army Reserve, as someone who's deployed to multiple war zones in different parts of the world, the most important responsibility that any president has is to serve as commander-in-chief. And it's important on this day as Veterans Day, as well as you said, as every day, to recognize the best way to ensure our gratitude is shown to those who serve and their families is to make sure war is a last resort, and if it is required, that we take care of our men and women in uniform if and when they come home.
LTC Gabbard, I thank you for your service, of course, and your family, because the whole family serves, no
Yes.
matter which member it is. The sacrifice is real, and you may serve again. What is your attitude towards being a member of the Trump administration?
President Trump is going through, and I know this is how he's spending a lot of his time right now, is looking at making these decisions about who he wants to serve on his team and in his cabinet. If there is any way that I can help achieve that goal and objective of preventing World War III and nuclear war, of course, I'd be honored to serve.
On Saturday, Congresswoman Tulsi Gabbard joined the ever-growing list of Democrats running for president in 2020. The Iraq War veteran kicked off her campaign with a rally in her home state of Hawaii.
It is this principle of service above self that is at the heart of every soldier, at the heart of every service member. And it is in this spirit that today I announce my candidacy for President of the United States of America.
Couple of hours. For AG, Trump has picked Florida Congressman Matt Gaetz, and for Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard. Let's talk about Gabbard first. She is a former Congresswoman from Hawaii. She was an officer in the Army Reserves and deployed to Iraq and Kuwait. She was a Democrat, but she left that party. Some of her foreign policy positions have been heavily criticized. Like when Russia invaded Ukraine, Gabbard said Russia had legitimate security concerns that NATO and President Biden had ignored. The Director of National Intelligence oversees the entire intelligence community, a critical role. This person is very much responsible for keeping America safe.
We had sources that had been telling us that Tulsi Gabbard, the former Democratic Congresswoman turned Republican, would be tapped for the Director of National Intelligence role, and just here in the last moments, that's exactly what happened. Donald Trump announcing that Tulsi Gabbard will take the reins, if confirmed by the U.S. Senate, of the office of the Director of National Intelligence. I mean, Tulsi Gabbard, of course, is somebody who rose to prominence back in 2017 when she took a secret trip to Syria to meet with President Bashar al-Assad. At the time, he was alleged to have ordered the killings of hundreds of thousands of Syrian civilians. It was a trip that was repudiated by Democrats and Republicans alike at the time that ultimately the U.S. was determining how it would engage and respond to the killings of civilians. And in the aftermath of that, she was hesitant to call him a dictator and was hesitant to condemn him for the actions that were taking place in Syria. Ultimately, she ran for president in 2019 as a Democrat. She was somebody that irked a great many other Democrats on that stage, taking on memorably then Senator Kamala Harris. Ultimately, in the aftermath of the 2020 election, she ended up going and making her presence on Fox News routine before becoming a close ally of Tucker Carlson, and somebody who then closely aligned herself with Robert F. Kennedy Jr. before just a couple weeks ago at a campaign rally that I was at in Michigan, going up on stage and declaring that she was now officially a member of the Republican Party because of Donald Trump and had sought to play a key role in his administration. She was, I'm told, an honorary chair on this transition team here, and now Donald Trump clearly trusting of Tulsi Gabbard and placing her in this critical national intelligence position.
All right, so